The things I do for y'all to love me. Do you love me yet? Let's get started. Borderlands is the most recent film by writer-director Eli Roth, based off of the popular video game series, which I have never played at all. In it, we follow Cate Blanchett playing the star character Lilith. And when Lilith is hired by a corporate suit played by Edgar Ramirez named Atlas, he goes on a sprawling mission to find his daughter Tina. But in the midst of this, she realizes that Tina may be the key to this vault that everybody is after. And so they go on a mission to then find the vault. That's all I'm going to get into without getting into too much spoilers here. This is going to be another non-spoiler review. But other than that, man, you know how we do every single time when we get to doing this. We're going to break down the good, we're going to break down the bad, and we are going to get into some of these stats, my guy. So let's get started in this thing. Honestly, I went into this film and I wasn't really expecting the best film of all time, but I tried to keep an open mind and I tried to enjoy this film as much as I could, but honestly, I couldn't do it. This film has a tendency to think that it is far funnier than it actually is. Even from the beginning of the film, we have little sections of the film and Cate Blanchett's character Lilith is looking directly into the camera like, "You laughing yet?" And it seems like this movie is a little confused on how exactly it wants to tell its story. We start off and we're getting narration from Cate Blanchett, and later on that narration just stops like a quarter of the way through the film, and we don't pick back up with that narration until the very end of the film. Like, I was honestly confused because like the way they integrated the narration in the beginning of the film, it felt like that's how they wanted to tell the story throughout the film. It felt like there's a difference between like when you watch a film and there's like a little bit of narration at the beginning, a little bit of narration at the end. It's like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. There's a little bit of narration at the beginning, there's a little bit of narration at the end. But no, this movie tried to intersperse that narration a little bit through the film. So it's like, okay, is this how we're going to be getting told this story is? Are we going to be told this story as we see the story? Or is this film just going to let us see and let us figure this out on our own? But then it kind of gets to wanting to spell things out for us. Even in the end of the film, it really wants to like spell things out for you and show you flashbacks to make you see things that it's like, okay, I caught it. You don't have to show me and hold my hand through all this. You can just let me see it. Pretty much every single character in this film is underdeveloped. There is not a single character in this film that feels like they are a fully fleshed out and written character. It's not that these characters don't have distinct voices, because a lot of them do. Most of the main cast of characters do have distinct voices, but at the same time, they're not necessarily fully fleshed out characters, and you don't really latch on to these characters. They don't give you much to really latch on to and feel for and care for these characters. So in the end, when we're getting to all these emotional moments and things where they want you to feel things, I can't feel anything because one, I don't care about these characters, and two, you never earned those emotions from me. And then there's also the fact that this film feels extremely rushed. And not rushed as in a pacing way, rushed as in like how it's being edited or anything. It feels rushed like it was written that way. Especially when we get to the climax of the film. Like, the climax of this film feels like, I don't know if any of you are writers, but if you're a writer, you probably know this feeling where you're towards the end of a project that you're writing and you're like, oh, I'm so close. And you kind of just start throwing things onto the page. It feels like they did that, but they never went back and read that again and revised it. It feels like that was just those last words that they went through when they were rushing to get that first draft of the film. That's just what they kept, because this film, towards the end, it just rushes all the way to the end. And it's a fast-paced film all the way through, and I don't think that's much of a problem, but I just think the writing feels lazy in this film. While there are a few cool scenes and like cool settings in this film, honestly, they don't amount to much when everything that's going on around the settings is just boring. You don't care. I don't care about anything that's going on in this film. And like I said, I really wanted to enjoy this film. I really did. But I just couldn't find anything that I really loved about this film. But listen here, I don't want to harp on this thing. I don't want to be too negative on this thing. But honestly, I can't find too many things that much of anybody would really enjoy in this film. This is another one of those video game film stinkers. So I bet you're wondering where we're going with this, and we're going to start breaking this thing down into scores, and God, it's going to be a really quick one this time. For casual fans, I'm going to give this film an F+. Movie fans, I'm going to give this an F, and for critics, again, I got to give this film an F. If we're talking about Borderlands, and this is the first time that I'm going to give this rating to a new film that I'm reviewing, but honestly, just skip it. I don't see much of a reason to go see this film. Honestly, I'm really interested in what fans of the video game are going to think about this. I know me as a person who has not much knowledge of the video game franchise, I did not enjoy much of this film at all. I really wonder how video game fans are going to feel because if they like any bit of this, I think that's the best thing. I felt the same way about Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't love that film much, but it seemed like a lot of fans of the video games enjoyed that film so much. So get down in those comments. Let me know what you guys think about this. Again, I'm sorry that I had to be so negative, but like I just didn't enjoy this film at all. I didn't see much of any redeeming factors in it. And nothing more than like a few jokes that made me snicker just a little bit. But again, that's all I got here today, guys. I'll see you next time. Later.